The post-Peterson era began on a bright note and was highlighted by the individual performances of several Seminole stalwarts. Quarterback Gary Huff checked in at #1 nationally in 3 different categories during the 1971 season. He compiled over 2,700 plus passing yards and 23 touchdown tosses. Barry Smith would literally rewrite the Seminole receiving records. His 25 career touchdown catches still top the FSU charts. Smith was considered by many the nation's most dangerous receiver in 1972, and his pure, raw speed made him different from previous Seminole greats Bolitnikoff and Sellers. In 1971, the tribe would inaugurate a second Southwestern Bowl game as they traveled to Tempe, Arizona for the first ever Fiesta Bowl. Arizona State, ranked 5th nationally and 10-1 on the season, would be the opponent. In one of the most exciting games in postseason history, the Seminoles and Sun Devils exchanged scoring punches throughout. While FSU lost the game, Huff was named Most Valuable Player, following a 25 of 46 performance for 347 yards and 2 touchdowns. The tenures of coaches Larry Jones and Darrell Mudra were valuable learning experiences in the overall growth of Florida State football. Neither coach, however, was able to sustain the success of the Peterson era. So, in 1976, FSU turned to a former Peterson assistant to return the Seminoles to glory, Bobby Bowden. Prior to Bowden's arrival, FSU President Stanley Marshall and Athletic Director Clay Stapleton were making what they considered a bold effort to crack into big-time college football. Their wisdom dictated that the Seminoles should schedule bigger games versus bigger teams at their home sites in order to gain more national exposure.
They were #3 in the nation, I believe, and we'd go out there to play them. We just lost the week before, and so we were going to get clobbered that day.
Line pitch back comes to Bryant. Little hole. Let's go score! Touchdown, Florida State.
I don't ever remember feeling that they were going to score on us, feeling that the game was at hand and they were fixing to beat us. I never once can remember feeling that we were going to lose that football game.
And Roger Quaig, he's going to roll toward his right side. Borowski's going to trap him. He loses the football. The Seminoles are going to fall on it. Florida State's come up with it. They own the football in the ball game. Seminoles recover the Quinn fumble. Borowski.
I always felt like that was our greatest win away from home. Back in those days, nobody beat Nebraska there, even Oklahoma. That Pitt team had Marino at quarterback, had Hugh Green, who was Defensive Player of the Year in the nation, at defensive end, had 17 boys that went into professional football. I couldn't believe it. And we played them here and beat them right after the Nebraska win. And I still think that's the best football team we ever beat since I've been here. And I also think that those 2 wins back to back are the biggest 2 wins we've ever had here.
To beat those 2 schools, both ranked #3 in the country, were just something that I'll remember forever, and I think it did a lot for Florida State University in giving not only the football and athletic programs at Florida State, but the entire school there a lot of confidence and a lot of pride that they were part of Florida State University.
Ohio State, we played them in 1981 and 82 there. Another one of those deals where no return game. You got to come up here and let us beat you. But we go up there and beat them. And those are 2 big wins, because I think Ohio State played in the Rose Bowl maybe both years. But we beat them up there, and that'll always be a big win to us. I still run a lot of Ohio people that were there that day that couldn't believe we beat them. Anybody who studies the history of college football and the success of college football from the very beginning I think it all goes right back to Notre Dame, who is still the #1 prestigious university in college football in the nation, you know. And so for us to go there in 1981 and play them, where all those great Notre Dame players had come from, and me as a coach could remember the history of it, my coaches could remember it, and to go in that dressing room where Newt Rockne used to be, you know, and things like that, knowing all the great teams that had played there. And then on top of that, not only did you get to play them there, but you beat them in their own backyard. When I came to Florida State, looked at our schedule, we had LSU 5 years in a row, every one of them in Baton Rouge. Now back in those days, Baton Rouge was known as Death Valley. You didn't beat LSU back in those days there. You just look at their record before 1982 or 3. They didn't lose games there, you know? And they had national championship teams that go in and couldn't beat them there. And so it was kind of a suicide type of thing. It was a game that was scheduled before I got here to raise money because we were losing a lot of money. And so, but now the thing about it, we go there and beat them 4 out of 5. Then had to play them there again next year and beat them another time. So we beat them 5 out of 6. So that really helped put us on the map. And for some reason, we had their number. You know how Miami's always had our number? It seemed like we always had LSU's number.
Coach Bowden has become many things to many people. He has been quoted, paraphrased, and quoted again. Indeed, Bowden is a true Southern gentleman in every sense of the phrase. Folksy, polite, and quite often downright hysterical. Perhaps these attributes are best revealed through his own speech.
Give him 21 points now, kick him. Let's take 21 points out of there. Then he only got 50, right? I mean, we're doing better than you think. There was another reception I was in. This time everybody was dressed. There was a lady sitting next to me, a Polish lady, and she was pregnant. I asked her, I said, "You're pregnant, aren't you?" She said, "Yeah, but it ain't mine."
Cause we're Seminoles of FSU. Yes, we're Seminoles, and we want you.
Only experience, that we do not have, but it'll come. We just have to be patient. You have to be patient. I'm going to be. I got a lifetime job.
You know what we got coming up now? We got Miami. They won today. They're going to come in here about 4th in the nation, or 5th. They're going to come here 4th or 5th in the nation. Well, let's pray. I'm thinking we are not going to win a national championship. It's not. I'll never win one. It's just not for me, you know. But the guy misses it, and I find this out. Wide left is better than wide right. At this time, I'd like to present from us a #1 for our president, and you might want to jog in this if you can get down south.
If the snow ever stops here, I will. Thank you.
While Bowden's personality draws attention to his team and his players, nothing can fire up a crowd more than a strong, proud mascot, and Florida State has one of the best. One of the most symbolic and significant traditions at FSU, Chief Osceola and Renegade made their first appearance September 16, 1978, when FSU faced Oklahoma State. Today, Chief Osceola, a Florida State student, dresses in a traditional costume made and donated by the Seminole Indian tribe of Florida. Hoisting a flaming spear atop the spirited Appaloosa Bay horse called Renegade, Chief Osceola leads the tribe onto the field before every home game. Then, Renegade gallops to midfield, carried by the roars of the Seminole faithful, rises on his hind legs, and Chief Osceola drives the spear into the Campbell Stadium turf. Seminole fans like to say that when the flaming spear drops, the opponent's luck stops. Throughout Bobby Bowden's tenure as head coach of the Florida State Seminoles, there have been numerous memorable plays and games. Many of Bowden's unforgettable moments involve something a little different. Whether a trick play or just plain luck, often it seemed that someone up above was always on Bowden's side. Bowden first delved into his amazing playbook in his first season as FSU head coach, 1976. In one 3-game stretch, the Seminoles converted 4 scoring plays of over 90 yards, a feat so rare that the NCAA doesn't even keep statistics on such occurrences. Those plays announced loudly and clearly that Bobby Bowden had begun to make his mark on FSU football.
We had 4 90-yard touchdown passes, plays, in the last 3 games of the season. Now, you say, well, so what? Well, I'll tell you what, so what? I don't think we've had one since. Or we might have had one. We might have had one.
His wide-open, gambling style makes Bowden's teams a treat to watch and a pleasure to play on. Reverses, flea flickers, laterals, you name it, here it comes. And many times, he simply reaches into that bag of tricks at just the right time.
Clemson's got 10 at the line of scrimmage. They're coming after it with 1:33 to go in the game. It's 21-21. And here's the short handoff and the little handoff to the up back. Leroy Butler's got a long way to go to the 40. Leroy Butler to the 50. Leroy Butler to the 40 to the 30. Leroy Butler to the 20. Leroy to the 10. Leroy Butler knocked out of bounds at the 4-yard line. What a play by the Seminoles. Some razzle-dazzle. 1:20 to go, and the Seminoles have it first and goal on the Clemson Tigers.
We saved it for the right time. We called it at the right time. It was like drawing to an inside straight. You had to get the right card. It wouldn't work. In other words, they wasn't in the exact defense you wanted them in. It wasn't going to work, and they were in it.
He won't get it. It's going to go into the end zone, and it's going to be run out. Eric Thomas is going to try to run it out and throw it back across the field. Taken over there by Hester. Jesse Hester now up the sideline. This is Florida State and Bobby Bowden.
In motion, the tight end, Pat Carter, and the toss sweep and the reverse. It goes to Dawsey on the reverse. First play from scrimmage. Dawsey to the 35 to the 40. Dawsey to the 50-yard line. Dawsey to the 45-yard line of Michigan State. Then it goes in motion to the left side. Here's Weldon looking. Throws the ball. It is a lateral to Charlie Ward. Trick play right back across the field to Weldon. Weldon's got the ball. He'll run. Weldon to the 30-yard line. Weldon to the 20-yard line. Weldon to the 15. Weldon to the 11. Fumbles the football. Diving on at FSU, and the Seminoles have the football. He is 2 for 2 in field goals. A big one here. Good snap. Here's the pitch goes to the fullback, and the Seminoles have a touchdown. How about that play? Brad Johnson laterals it forward, and the Seminoles score a touchdown. Dropping his Cannell. Swings it out to Warwick Dunn. Wants to throw the pass downfield. He's got Omar Ellison out there. He makes the catch to the 40, 30, nice up to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, 5, 3, touchdown, Florida State. Omar Ellison, halfback pass, Warwick Dunn.
There are old sages of the game who say that the true measure of a college football coach is how well he fares in bowl games. By that measuring stick, Bobby Bowden has simply no peers. He's the winningest bowl coach in NCAA history by a mile. Bowden's Seminoles have won an NCAA record 11 consecutive bowls and have gone to 14 straight bowls without tasting defeat. Overall, FSU has appeared in 25 bowls in just 49 years of playing football. Motivating and challenging his troops to do their best is another Bowden specialty, and 3 of his players, exemplary in their talent and dedication, have had their uniforms retired. Perhaps the greatest defender in Florida State history, Ron Simmons, number 50, was retired in 1988. In 1977, Simmons' first season as Florida State's starting nose guard, he turned a defense that was amongst the worst in college football the year before into one of the top 10 in the country.
Out of 106 teams in 1A, we were probably about 105 defensively. You couldn't stop anybody. That next year, we had 8 of those guys back. We got Ronnie Simmons out of high school, put him at nose guard, started him as a freshman. And with those other 8 guys back that were the worst in the country, they became about the top 10 or 11th in the nation. A big jump. I always felt like he's the guy that cemented that thing together.
Simmons also helped FSU reach a pair of Orange Bowls following the 1979 and 1980 seasons. A dominating lineman and the tribe's first 2-time consensus All-American, Simmons lived in the opponent's backfield. He totaled 25 career quarterback sacks and 44 tackles for loss, both Seminole records. Simmons' sheer speed and strength made him all but unblockable, and his impact on the turnaround of FSU football cannot be overstated. One of the most honored yet humble athletes in the history of college football, Charlie Ward quarterbacked the Seminoles to the 1993 National Championship and set 19 school and 7 ACC records along the way. A consensus All-American, Ward won over 30 individual honors, including Florida State's first Heisman Trophy.
I was just very excited about the opportunity that I had to be in that position to win a Heisman Trophy. And you know, God has blessed me with a great team, great players around me, and you know, it happened.
Second and goal from the 2. Here's the snap. Charlie runs to his right. Charlie may have the angle. 5, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Charlie Ward! Touchdown, Charlie Ward!
In his 2-year stint as the Seminole starter, he became FSU's all-time total yardage leader, had the highest completion rate for a career, and set the record for TD passes in a season. He did it all in a calm, collected manner, which belied the havoc Ward invariably wreaked on opponents.
When he graduated from Florida State, he gave me a football, and with his signature, and he had a note on there, "Thank you for giving me the opportunity of playing for you." Well, I couldn't believe that. I would have written "thank you" for having given me the opportunity of coaching you, you know. But here he was, led us to a national championship and one of the best football teams we've ever had, one of the best 2 years back-to-back that he started we ever had, and here he is thanking us, for the opportunity of letting him play. You know, he's that tells you a lot about Charlie.
Cornerback Deion Sanders was one of the finest athletes ever to wear a Seminole uniform, winning the Jim Thorpe Award as America's top defensive back in 1988. Beginning in 1985, Sanders gathered 14 interceptions, not including 3 crucial pickoffs in bowl games. In both his junior and senior seasons, FSU went 11-1, with a pair of New Year's Day bowl wins.
One of the best athletes we've ever had at Florida State, maybe the best, probably the fastest, great track athlete, great baseball player, great football player, and if he says, the old saying, it ain't bragging if you can do it, that's Deion.
During the 1988 season, Sanders also electrified as the nation's top punt returner, averaging 15.2 yards per attempt.
Backpedaling is Sanders. He will field it at 25. Looks for somewhere to come. Comes right up the middle, makes a nice cut. Deion Sanders to the 50. Deion Sanders to the 40. Deion Sanders hurdles to the 30, to the 20. Deion Sanders will score a Seminole touchdown. My, what a run.
His 76-yard TD versus Clemson sparked the Noles to victory. While Sanders' flamboyant style captured the public spotlight, It is his work ethic and unique talent that coaches and teammates will remember most. While Bowden's early years saw the Seminoles attain new national prominence, the years 1987 through 95 were filled with unprecedented accomplishments. Actually, the groundwork for the success of '87 and beyond was laid in February of 1985, when a recruiting class that included the likes of Deion Sanders, Sammy Smith, Pat Tomberlin, and Odell Hagan signed on to become Seminoles. That group became the core of the 1987, '88, and '89 teams that would combine for 32 victories, including a pair of Fiesta Bowl titles and 3 wins over Florida. Needless to say, the Seminoles have not looked back since. In the 9 years beginning with 1987, FSU has won 10 or more games and finished in the top 4 of the polls each and every season. No school in NCAA history can match either feat. Florida State's 96-13-1 record is the nation's second best in that time. The Seminoles have won every bowl game in that 9-year span, including 8 New Year's Day affairs, plus the inaugural Blockbuster Bowl against Penn State in 1990.
From the 19, blitz coming, Ferguson on the bootleg, rolls toward his right, fires the pass. It is caught by Dawsey at the 15, Dawsey to the 10, Dawsey to the 5, to the 3, to the 1, he's in for the touchdown. Lawrence Dawsey does it.
FSU sports a 7-2-1 record over the arch-rival Gators in the past 9 years, including a lopsided 52-17 win in 1988 and a scintillating 33-21 triumph in 1993 that ultimately propelled the Seminoles to the national title. But Florida isn't the only Southeastern Conference foe the Noles have dominated. FSU carried a 13-3-1 record against SEC competition since 1987. In 1990, Florida State declined an invitation to join a league that had for years spurned the Seminoles, instead joining the Atlantic Coast Conference. From 1992 to 95, the Noles won their first 29 meetings with ACC foes, the third best conference win streak in NCAA history, and have claimed 4 ACC crowns in as many years. Florida State's reputation as an offensive juggernaut is well-deserved. Bowden's teams have routinely racked up over 500 yards and 50 points in single games, thanks to an imaginative mix of passing finesse and rushing muscle. Passers like Danny McManus, Peter Tom Willis, Casey Weldon, Charlie Ward, and Danny Cannell have all shattered record after record with pinpoint accuracy and nerve to spare. Long noted for its great receiving tradition, Florida State has continued to turn out top-notch wideouts like Ronald Lewis, Lawrence Dawsey, Kes McCorvey, Tamarik Vanover, and Andre Cooper. Great running backs have been another Seminole standby, from Sammy Smith to Dexter Carter, to Amp Lee, to Warwick Dunn. Sleek and slippery, these runners have showcased FSU's multifaceted attack. As explosive as Bowden's offenses have been, the coach himself will tell you that defense wins championships, and Seminole defenders have helped prove that motto over the past 9 years. Deion Sanders' suffocating coverage began a tradition that has earned FSU the nickname Cornerback U. Players like Leroy Butler, Terrell Buckley, and Clifton Abraham kept the legacy alive under the tutelage of Coach Mickey Andrews. Linebacker Paul McGowan became Florida State's first recipient of the Butkus Award in 1992, an honor claimed by the Austin Marvin Jones 5 years later. FSU's linebacking lineage boasts the likes of Kurt Carruthers and Derek Brooks, who hungrily hunted down opposing ball carriers. Not to be outdone, the Seminole defensive line has provided the building blocks for many a great defense. Odell Higgins and Eric Hayes made a formidable duo in the late 80s, followed by Carl Simpson, Derek Alexander, and a host of other rugged D-liners. It's no wonder that since 1987, Seminole players have been the most decorated in the country when it comes to national awards. Heisman, Maxwell, Lombardi, Butkus, Thorpe, Unitas. Nebraska may hold the nation's winningest record since 1987, but the Cornhuskers have had no luck against FSU. The Noles have won all 4 meetings with Nebraska over that span, including a hard-fought 18-16 triumph in the 1994 Orange Bowl for the national title. But the Huskers shouldn't feel bad. The Noles have whipped most comers over the past 9 years. Unforgettable victories have included a 51-31 win at Michigan in 1991, in which the Seminoles scored more points than any foe ever in Ann Arbor.
Touchdown, Florida State. Weldon, play fakes, rolls to his right, drops, throws the pass toward the end zone. Touchdown, FSU.
It was on national television. It was on Armed Forces Network. I mean, we were, well, you talk about on display. Florida State and Michigan were on display. Plus, the stadium has 105,000 seats, and it was filled, you know. So, man, what a display. And then what we do, we go out there and put on one of the best offensive shows we have ever put on at Florida State.
The 1992 rally at Georgia Tech, where Charlie Ward and company unleashed the fast break offense en route to a 29-24 comeback victory.
Near side, it's caught by McCorvey. McCorvey the 5, McCorvey, touchdown, Florida State, it's a touchdown.
And speaking of comebacks, who can forget Florida State's 31-31 tie against Florida in '94? In which the Danny Cannell-led Noles staged the greatest fourth-quarter turnaround in NCAA history.
Blitz threat. Here's the snap. Handoff to Preston. Preston, 3-2-1. Touchdown! 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 Can you believe it?
By 1993, no one disputed Florida State's place among college football's elite. Still, there was one thing missing from the Seminoles' resume: a national championship. That was soon to change. That Seminole team made it clear early on that they were something special. An incredible 12-play goal line stand against Kansas in the season-opening kickoff classic showed the nation that Florida State had the grit and guts to carry its #1 preseason ranking till the end.
I think we went out there against Kansas and showed that, we want to carry the team, and, the defense, we're going to win the championship, at this university. And I think that goal line stand really kind of set our foundation for something to build on throughout the year.
The accomplishments of 1993 were numerous. Heisman Trophy winner Charlie Ward was one of 4 All-Americans and 17 All-ACC selections on the squad. FSU rolled over its conference competition by an average of 42.5 points and collected 4 shutouts on the year. FSU claimed the state championship, which some feel is tougher to win than a national title, by beating Miami and Florida. Most telling, the Seminoles led the nation in both scoring offense and scoring defense. There would be one bump along the road to a title, however. In a classic confrontation, the top-ranked Seminoles traveled to South Bend, Indiana, to take on the second-ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish. A matchup rightly billed as the game of the century, and it would all come down to one final play. For once, Charlie Ward could not work his magic, and the Irish prevailed, 31-24. A week later, however, fortune smiled on FSU as Notre Dame lost 41-39 to Boston College. Rejuvenated by the news of Notre Dame's demise, the Seminoles crushed North Carolina State 62-3 to reclaim the top spot in the Associated Press poll. But there was one team that stood between Florida State and a New Year's date with destiny: the Florida Gators. The Seminoles dominated their rivals for 3 quarters, yet they led by only 26-21 with 5:58 remaining. Facing a critical third down from the FSU 21-yard line, Ward softly lobbed a pass through the Florida field uproar and found freshman Warwick Dunn on the other end. 79 yards later, Dunn was in the end zone, and the Noles were on their way to Miami's Orange Bowl.
We're here to get that ring, aren't we? Everything we've worked for is right down to now, you know? I mean, you don't want to hold nothing back. You know, you ain't going to hold nothing back, man.
Most observers, frankly, expected Florida State to beat Nebraska handily, despite the Cornhuskers' undefeated record and number 2 AP ranking. But a proud Nebraska squad came ready to fight. Luckily, so did the Seminoles. Nebraska took a 7-6 halftime lead, but a William Floyd touchdown plunge gave FSU a 12-7 edge, which Scott Bentley stretched to 15-7 with a 39-yard field goal. Nebraska stormed back, though, taking a 16-15 lead with just 1:16 remaining. Undaunted, as always, Ward led the Seminoles down the field, quickly gaining the Cornhusker 5-yard line. From there, Bentley drove a 22-yard field goal straight through the uprights for an 18-16 Seminole advantage. The Tribe had still to withstand a 45-yard field goal try by Nebraska's Byron Bennett on the game's final play. The kick sailed left, and Bobby Bowden and Florida State had their first national title, a mere 47 years after the program's inception.
I'm very happy and excited that I was a part of the first national championship team. For the mere fact that they've had so many great teams, and it was just a matter of being on the right team at the right time.
It was a great year. It was a great ball club, and yet I think we had some ball clubs just about as good that didn't win it, but only lost it by 1 point. But this team deserved to win it, and they did.
Through all the excitement of the Noles' 9-year stay atop the polls, one thing has remained constant: Bobby Bowden. Like the finer things in life, Bowden has simply gotten better with age. And like the Florida State program itself, he's shown a willingness to not just adapt to the times, but to set the trends himself, to battle the heavyweights anywhere, anytime, and to whip them then and there, to lay a solid foundation and then reap the benefits down the road. Bobby Bowden is one of just 2 active coaches to claim over 250 career victories, and the almost unheard of plateau of 300 wins may well be within his reach. Who knows, Bowden may even surpass his idol, Alabama's Bear Bryant, one day. It may seem, having accomplished so much in such a short span, that Florida State football is a story of overnight success. While it's true that the Seminoles' ascent to the top of college football has been remarkably swift, there were plenty of dues paid along the way. Longtime Seminole fans must look back in amazement at where the program started and where it is today. From the hard-scrabbled turf of Centennial Field to today's magnificent Doak Campbell Stadium. From Don Veller's cockeyed T formation to today's fast-break shotgun set. From the so-called UF rejects to today's national award winners. Different eras, yes, but tied together by commitment, pride, and what Bobby Bowden likes to call audacity, bold courage and daring in the face of long odds. It is that quality, audacity, that first gave rise to the Florida State program, then sparked the tribe to victory against established opponents, and has driven latter-day Seminole teams to unprecedented heights. A remarkable half-century of Florida State football is in the books. And if history is any indication, the next 50 years will be just as garnet and golden.